Welcome to your Daily 5 for Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. Today and tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about the first two, well, they're episodes, but also movies, technically, in a 2001 series called Robocop Prime Directives. Now, I kind of remember hearing about this series when it was on back in 2001, but never watched it, and over time never really had the desire to because, like a lot of things, I'd always heard that anything after the first two movies, Robocop-wise, was absolutely not worth seeing. But I came across a YouTube video that was talking about Robocop villains that weren't from the movies, and one of them mentioned a character called Robocable. And I went, what is Robocable? Looked it up, found Prime Directives as a series, and then I read what they were trying to do with that series, and I have to admit I was interested because the idea is that they were trying to do a follow-up, a direct follow-up to the first Robocop film. So throwing away everything after the first film, including the sequel, which I actually like quite a bit, but I understand why they may have wanted to get rid of that. So this is supposed to be a direct sequel to the first Robocop film from 1987. Takes place 10 years after that film, and essentially brings us to a old Detroit and Delta City that has honestly kind of become tired of Robocop, that his usefulness is sort of, he's basically obsolete. He's now questioning what his existence means anymore. Delta City is now so safe that they're in fact outlawing lethal violence altogether because OCP is kind of, it feels like, out of ideas and they don't know what else to do to revitalize their corporate image. And what we get, at least in the first episode, Dark Justice, is an expansion on Murphy's backstory. Now, in the film, it wasn't really necessary. You didn't need it. The film wasn't too concerned about setting up Murphy as anything other than kind of the pure good cop. The show fills in more of the backstory and what led him to actually transfer to the precinct that he's in the film. And while the movie didn't need it, I actually kind of like what they did in this series as far as setting up Murphy's backstory. He had another partner. The partner and him have a falling out over how far over the line they're willing to go to deliver justice. And that's what leads him to transfer to the other precinct and then partner up with Lewis and, of course, then become Robocop. And so the first series is largely about that. It does set up some of the mechanics of OCP, so we have some corporate kind of back and forth politics that we know will come into play later. But it's really about setting up where the world is 10 years after the first film, what Murphy's backstory is, and where the Robocable character is going to come from. And honestly, now I have to be very honest about it. This is absolutely a 50-50 series. This is a series where every time it does something I like, it does something that I think is absolutely terrible. So the former partner of Robocop, John Cable, I like the character. But they also introduced this villain for this particular episode called Bone Machine, which is as dumb a name as you could possibly imagine, and the character is almost worse. And it's all basically a setup, and spoilers, this thing is 20 plus years old now, to be able to maneuver John Cable into a situation where he's going to get killed by Robocop in a hostage type of situation. I'll go into the details on Friday because it would take me forever to lay out all the stuff. But where John Cable, I think, is a very good character. I like the actor. I like all the acting. I actually like the guy they got for Robocop. A lot of people have complained he's very short, which he is. But I actually think he's good, so I don't care. So they have this John Cable character. Great character. Like him. Then they bring Bone Machine in. Stupid character. Looks dumb. Bad acting. And really bad direction, not acting. They told him to do certain things that are just really, really stupid. And so the whole series thus far, I've watched the first two episodes, the whole thing is kind of like that. Every time they do something I like, they do something that I absolutely hate. But there's enough in this. It does feel, no matter the problems, that this is a sincere effort by people who love the first film to try to continue the story in a way that feels like it's connected to that first film. That didn't go PG-13 like the third film, or become a nonsensical children's cartoon like the cartoon series did. That they wanted to keep that harder edge, as much as they could with Canadian television, and move this thing forward and actually provide more story that feels like it is a direct connection to the first film. And because of that, and the fact that they do honestly feel like they are earnestly attempting that, I forgive a lot of these other problems, which is not to say it's flawless and I can't make it as a blanket recommendation even to Robocop fans, but it certainly is trying something. And I will always, or at least I try now, to always extend more leeway to people that are trying something from a place of sincerity. So Robocop Dark Justice might not be for everybody. I like it, and we'll do Meltdown tomorrow. Later.